Good morning, guys. I just wanted to get on here and say good morning, first and foremost. But I also wanted to get on here and say, you know, I've been thinking about this a lot lately. And I did not realize how much stress and bullshit I take on myself that isn't even my own, you know? I have a very strong sense of fair and justice and what's right and wrong. And when I see other people outside of myself doing things that don't make sense to me, that is very clearly wrong in so many ways, I want to take and fix all of that. And I guess due to being neurodivergent, I believe that I am the one to go and fix the problem as I see it. And that has made my life so much harder because, in my opinion, which isn't really anything because who am I to determine what's right for the world? But I tend to try to take that on myself and correct the situation as I see it going wrong. And what I've realized is that I'm not necessarily wrong for the way that I perceive things. I was born in a different time from a lot of these younger generations. I mean, let's face it, 42 is not young. It isn't. It's not old, but it means that I came from a different time where respect was demanded. And people doing the things they're doing now that everybody has deemed okay, or not even. The world has changed. Beliefs have changed. And that has put a lot of the older generation, even older than myself, to be honest, because let's face it, morals and values were already being corrupted by the time that I came around. But still, not a whole lot compared to what's happening now. And people keep telling me, hey, you need to keep your opinions to yourself. You need to not say anything. And a lot of people nowadays that are calling out things that are blatantly wrong are getting called a Karen. Where that came from, I don't know. I think it's stupid. Because in my time, and in much older generations than my own, when things were wrong, when people were doing things that were not okay by society standards, even, it was the society that would come and correct or call out the things that were wrong. So I realized that I may be taking things on that are not my own because so few of us are actually fighting to maintain values, morals. And now we live in a world where everything is permissible. And if you don't like it, you have to just sit there and keep your mouth shut, because mostly the younger generation has determined that nobody is allowed to have a voice against what they're doing, and we're called bigot, racist, whatever, because people have chosen to go against what was societally normal. And I'm not saying that some of the stuff didn't need to necessarily change, because some of it did, of course. But as a whole, when you have a breakdown of society, the way that we're having it now, and anybody that decides that they don't like what I'm saying, you might want to look at yourself. Because even 30 years ago, 40 years ago, 20 years ago, it was not okay to go around and cuss out old people. Old people got to that age and they have a whole hell of a lot more wisdom and knowledge than anybody wandering around today from the younger generations. And so we sit there and we excuse all of these people. And I think a lot of it falls to the fact that nobody's actually standing together that believes it's wrong, because we've all been told that we don't have a right to say anything. And if we do, we are shouted down by a younger crowd, even not a younger crowd. Some of these people are our age, older, that have decided that they're going to go with whatever nonsense is going on today. And I'm having a hard time with the fact that society's norms and everything are changing. And we are going into a much darker time. And just because you believe that something is wrong and you bite your tongue because you don't want to make waves, well, that's kind of a problem, isn't it? You sit there on your hands, you keep your mouth to yourself because you're afraid of what is going to be said and done. But for time immemorial, that is how we have maintained balance in our societies, by coming together to correct a situation, to maintain order, and we don't have that anymore. And that's making it really hard for me, myself. And I'm sure you don't have to be neurodivergent for it to be hard for you. But what's happening to taking society back to a time where people operated on pride and honor? We don't understand what that even means anymore. And I see this as a problem. And I'm not calling out anybody specifically. I'm not saying that some of this didn't need to change, because obviously everything needs to shift in some way. But does it have to be okay for people to sell drugs on the street, or for a child rapist to not be punished, or for an old woman to be sued because somebody broke into their house and cut themselves with a knife, and so now it's that old woman's fault? When did it become wrong to defend yourself and societal values? Because we've come to a time where it seems like we don't have any values. We don't have a lot of the things that our society was built on. It doesn't matter color, race, gender. It doesn't matter about any of that. What matters is morals. And they seem to be gone for the most part. And it's really hard to operate in a world where the rules keep changing from day to day. For any of you who understand, you understand. And for any of you who don't, I don't know what to say anymore, you know? But that's kind of what's been on my head, in my head lately, in my heart. And I just kind of felt compelled to say it. I don't think this is going to help anybody, because I'm me. I'm just me. I'm not many. I'm only me standing alone and trying to figure out what the hell is happening, you know, and how it's gotten to this point. Anyway, for any of you who watch but don't subscribe, please subscribe, like, share, hit the bell so that you know when I am posting. And for any of you who watch that have subscribed, thank you. I wouldn't be able to do this without you. And I am grateful to each and every one of you. Have a good day.